Welcome to Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. My name is Momp Mogobe. Our objective is to enthuse, inspire, energize, and empower entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs of all stripes here in BW and beyond. We do so by inviting these entrepreneurs into our makeshift studio. Sometimes we call them to the restaurant, sometimes we go to our studio, and we ask them to share their experiential knowledge, their experiences and their expertise. And we ask them as many questions as we can, aimed at empowering you also as a viewer. Hello dear viewer and listener, my name is Momp Mogobe. I welcome you to another episode, an invigorating one I might add, of Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. Occasionally we get captains of industry, like today we have a CEO of a large corporate. You'll find out at a moment, but before I introduce my guest, or the guest introduces himself, do me a favor, please just strike that subscribe button. We need all the support you can give us. As always, we strive to give you life-changing business education that can make an impact or a positive impact in your life. Welcome to the studio, Mr. Barnabas Mavuma.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Mogobe.
Okay.
Yes.
So privileged. I've known you for donkey's years, it seems. But this is the first time I've had the privilege of asking you a few questions. Can we start with you sharing your background story a little bit?
Yes, no, thank you for that. As you know, I don't know if you still remember, I was doing sciences at the University of Botswana.
I remember.
And as my friends transferring over to the United States, I didn't meet the bar, and I finally ended up doing science education and became a science teacher for a good 4 years. And during those 4 years, there were promises made by our government to take us through for masters and other things, and those promises were never met. And on one good day, I got up and updated my CV and came looking for a job in Gaborone. I was a teacher at Kharishchele Senior Secondary School.
Oh.
And on this one day, I think in 1992, late 1992, I think November, I updated my CV. The idea was really to just come through and maybe give it to places like President Hotel and other places where I knew people who were not really in that, who had studied in that industry to break into it.
Yes.
Now I met somebody who had actually previously worked for Associated Insurance Broker, which is now called Minet. He's gone through some changes in the names. I'll let you know about that. And as we were discussing, he said, no, there's actually a vacancy at AIB. Can I have your CV? I gave it to him, and then a week later...
Associated Insurance Brokers.
At the moment, yeah. At that time, it was called Associated Insurance Brokers. This was what is now referred to as Minet, having gone through the name Aon. So he went and handed in my CV, and one day I'm in the staff room, I received a call, and as fate would have it, I went for an interview, impressed them, and I got my foot into the insurance industry in November 1992.
Yes.
Just before we were going for the Christmas holidays. And when I got in there, I was lucky to be under the supervision and tutelage of one lady called Mrs. Dora Moremi. Very hard worker.
I know her.
Very smart and very dedicated to what she was doing. And I think with that, that helped me develop the attitude around working as hard and the like. And what actually helped me or propelled me or pushed me through in the supposed to how I got here was that these insurance courses. When I got there, I was told, coming from your background with your science degree, you don't really fit in this financial space. But you can do what we call insurance programs. There's the associate stage, and then there's the fellowship stage, and then the other management courses that you can do. And because I had developed an interest having worked with Dora for the few months I was there, I registered for the exams. Most of my colleagues then, because some had done diplomas and degrees in the financial space, were exempted from writing most of the exams. There were 9 that you had to write, but they're exempted because the degree had things they could tick off on the program. But I had to write all 9.
Oh.
So I did the first 4, passed them. Lucky for me, there was one that I had done very well in, and then they moved me into the rewrite program, where the others were rewriting. I was writing an additional 1, and then the next year I did the last 4, and I got my associate. And I think one of the shortest times they had seen in the industry, apart from those that had of course, the exemptions.
When you say shortest time, you mean within?
I mean, I did within a year.
Yeah.
You write the 1 year and then rewrite in the I think there's a period where you rewrite, then there's a period then you write again. Maybe a year, and a few months. So it was, I impressed myself as well. So obviously then people,
because all 9 were done within 12 months.
12 or slightly longer, maybe. I think let's give it a 15-month period.
Yeah.
Where I'd found people within the organization and others in the industry who had actually taken slightly longer. And I mean, by slightly longer, I mean quite a bit of time.
Well, I'm going to chip in there and ask you, what was the differentiator? What made you tenacious? What was it about you that set you above the others?
No, I think it was the hard work, and I'd come from a place, a teaching space, where promises had been made and had not been fulfilled, and there was really, I had the drive to really succeed. I know people don't like admitting this, but there's a certain element of competition within myself.
Against yourself.
When I come to Gaboro and I see my friends that were doing other programs,
going places,
and I felt somebody said, this is what you need to do to get where you need to go. So I did exactly that, and that was the drive. And like I said, I had a good mentor in the lady who supervised me, very hardworking, and it's really just saying, if you work hard enough, then that will be it.
So when you changed from teaching to insurance, it wasn't because you didn't enjoy teaching, it was because prospects for progression were limited in teaching, and there were better prospects on the insurance side.
Exactly. Teaching was wonderful. You had breaks, you had afternoons off, you had all kinds of things that you wouldn't get in the normal working environment. It was wonderful, but one at that age, I was very young, but at that age, you really want to look like the others and do what the others are doing and really have
make a difference.
Make a difference. And for me, I went into a space where they told me I could make a difference, and I did. For myself, and I did actually encourage others to do exactly what I did, which they've done, and this is where we are in the industry now.
Yeah. So from Associated Insurance Brokers, what happened?
I worked for Associated Insurance Brokers 2-3 years, and then my mentor or supervisor went off to do her master's degree. Then I was transferred to someone else who didn't, in my view, didn't value me that much. So they sort of transferred me into a space where I was filing and really just coming there. Then there would be this pile of papers. Then I'd find our files, put them in there, and there wasn't much that was happening. Whereas under Mamoremi, there were quite a number of things. We were managing some schemes.
There was exposure.
There was exposure to quite a number of areas within the insurance space that I thought one could learn from. So I thought, let me leave this organization. Mamoremi is not here. Nobody really seems to care. Then I met up with another old friend of mine, Mulas Hopol at Sam Nando's. He says, do you want to...
I know him well.
Yeah, I know him well. He says, I'm at BIC. Don't you want to come and see what you can do there? So I said, oh, okay. Gave my CV, moved across to BIC. BIC was there for some years until a certain gentleman, Abe Botes, who had been the managing director for BIC, and had left, was opening up a new insurance company called Regent. And Regent was very fresh, very new. Was actually employee number 1. Where we sat in a hall, and I was sitting on garden chairs. But because he was a very good marketer, we had business coming in, even though we didn't have, infrastructure and the like. We were piling it there. That I didn't mind to do because I was
you were starting something big. I was
starting something big. So yeah, we got them. And I know I was joined by another lady called Bonyana. She's Kunda now, but she used to be Bonyana Oteng. And then the two of us sort of got along with it. I think on the first month, we're not paid by the. I know there's no such date, but by the 35th of the month, we had not received our salaries, and banks were calling and asking us all kinds of questions. And then we were later joined by a gentleman who had come from Bank of Botswana called Mr. Mutusi Kibalefetse, and then we sort of moved along, and then we built the company. Over the years, I think it started in 96, 97.
What does that tell you about starting from nothing? Because I've heard so many entrepreneurs saying they need to have it all before they start.
Yeah, well, I think starting from nothing actually does give you that drive to succeed. You have family behind you. At that time I was already married. You have family, you have friends, and you have this banker that you need to pay. So you work that extra mile. You go out and you
really push.
You're hungry because you need this thing to succeed.
To work, yeah.
And you want to really tell those guys that you left behind that you're not doing so badly after all. And so it was.
So there's both positive and negative motivation.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Now you've now at the pinnacle of what used to be called Aon. Right. It's now called Minet. How did you get to Aon?
Well, from Regent. I again met Dora. She had been back from studies for some time, and she was now, I believe, the deputy managing director of the organization. And she at the time there were not many Botswana who had achieved the associateship, and were quite. I don't want. Were quite knowledgeable in the insurance space. It was a new area for the country, and so she went hunting for me, asked me for a drink, and told me she should like me to rejoin Aon. In fact, AIB had
been bought by Aon.
It had been bought by Aon, which is an American global American company, and they now rebranded to Aon from Associated Insurance Brokers on the year 2020. Sorry, what year is it now?
We're in
2001 when we had the thing with the Twin Towers. Yeah, 2001.
Yeah.
That's when
9/11.
9/11. Yeah. So she asked me to come back, and she promised me a position. Well, she was saying come back as this position, and I knew from back then when I was starting that this is quite a senior position. It was a senior account executive position.
Okay.
Position has since transformed in the industry. The others I filled the gap, but that was really the space from senior account. You then get into the exco, and then So yes, I was quite happy to come back, and again when I came back, still under her supervision.
Under Dora's supervision.
Under Dora's supervision, and she, again, still provided the same leadership and mentorship, and now was teaching me more advanced, because when you are really new, you're really just doing the basic stuff, but now you're really getting to the more advanced stuff.
Yeah, still on that, what would you say are the key characteristics that she had as a mentor, as a successful mentor?
She very hard worker, attention to detail, recognition of good work by her mentee and any other colleague, and she would give you the recognition, she would give you the exposure. She he didn't believe in this throwing into the deep end, but there were ways of throwing you into the deep end. Then she would call you and say, I could see you had it in you. You just needed that extra push. So that really got you to a point where you could do it yourself.
Yeah.
So for me, that allowed me to go out on my own, and this insurance business is really about growing the business by getting new clients. That's really what it's about. Yes, it's about insuring people and telling them about how important it is, but a business is about growing the business.
Growing the business continually.
So your budget grows year on year, and you have to go and get the business.
Yeah. So you were with Aon, which was for the second time. For how long? And have you stayed there until it changed to Minet?
Yes, I joined it in 2001, and I've really progressed through the various stages within the organization up to where I am now. I was appointed in this position in 2018.
Oh, okay.
In 2018. So, like I said, you go and get business. So I was lucky at the time that the government was creating a lot of parastatals.
Yeah.
It was creating a lot of parastatals. We were really semi-independent government, but it's a parastatal. So they had their own boards. They needed to have their own structures,
budget and
budgets. And so that was the area I went in, and being the biggest broker at the time, those were the clients that I started targeting. Every new parastatal that came up, until somebody taught them tenders. But at the time I'd go there and structure.
And just make a pitch.
Yeah, make a pitch and structure the insurances. This is what you need. You have people, you have assets, other things that life covers, and you structure it and you presented it, and then they gave you the go ahead.
Okay.
So that's how the business grew, and obviously as you grow business within an organization, they tend to notice you. The main executive, they start wanting to know who and what you are all about. So that's just how it grew.
Let's talk a little bit about the change from Aon to Minet. First, what is Minet?
Minet, I can't really tell what the name means, if at all it means anything. Somebody thought it was French and they say Menai. But Minet is the name that's been around the insurance industry in Southern Africa and say in Africa for quite some time. Even I think Associated Insurance Broker back in the 80s had either a shareholding of Minet or was Minet before it became Associated Insurance Broker.
Oh.
And then there was a company that we acquired in 2013. It was called Glenren MIB, and the M really was Minet. So when the people who created the Minet, I'll tell you later about how we became Minet, but the people who bought and then wanted to call themselves a name, they thought of this old name that's been in the industry for some time, and they said this would be the appropriate name to call the company, and then they went for it.
Okay. At some point, you worked under a very prominent individual who then later became a Minister of Finance, Dr. Matseka. How was it working under him, and insofar as mentorship and things like that are concerned?
Yes, just like you, I knew Matseka from my UB days. We were quite close, and even when he was a lecturer at UB, we visited each other, but not that close. So when he came through, I was quite comfortable with having him as a leader. I'd seen him progress, at CEDA and the years that he had stayed there, and what he had done for the organization. We were quite comfortable as a team to have him join us, and I must say it was because I think he was a finance economics person. He also pushed for results. Pushed for results. You don't meet your budget, they will obviously be talking down. But I think all in all, he was. I think he was straightforward. He would reward where he sees that there is value, and he was a very strong character, very, very good at networking. I think I can give him that for the time that he spent there. He had good networking ability and bringing people in, because he wasn't an insurance person. He would bring in the
experts,
the potentials, and then he would let the insurance people do the work.
Give you room to operate.
Give us room to operate. So it was quite. In fact, that was a period where the organization grew. Okay, number one, because we acquired Glenrand, and we acquired it. It had quite an extensive pension admin book. We were not really strong on that. The people knew us for the insurance side that we did. And we acquired Glenrand, and then we had an extensive, a big pension admin book, and this pushed that on the side of the insurance side to try and pull up our socks and grow. So it was a time where the organization grew quite exponentially. I must say,
Wonderful. You know, the Aon is seen as an American company, but I noticed that you see Minet as a Pan-African company. How did it transform from American, quote-unquote, to Pan-African?
Yes.
And tell us how the Pan-African element as well. Just develop that point.
Yes. No. Yes, I think we've had quite a strong run under the Aon brand. Aon was a huge global brand, and at one point sponsored Manchester United, and
yes, I remember.
And that, whether it was not, even though it was not quantifiable, I believe, gave us favor with some of the Man U supporters who then identified with us, and he showed with us.
Yes.
But over some time, I think what Aon was doing was trying to. This is just my personal view. I think they were trying to move away, and they thought things were getting bad in Africa because they had been fined in Nigeria. Somebody had been naughty at Nigeria, and this was an Aon office, and there's been a fine, I think, 5 million whatever US dollars, or even more. And then there'd been similar incidents with other banks, and when they saw the likes of Barclays want to pull out, and I think that narrative was that they are looking elsewhere. Their interests have changed, and they would really like to slowly pull out of Africa. And when they said that in 2017, the senior managers or the exec in the different countries, because Aon was in quite a number of countries in Africa, they came together and met up with a private equity company based in South Africa, but it's really operating in the region, called Capital Works, in 2017, and pitched to Aon to say, look, we'd like to buy the Aon interests. We'd like to buy Aon in Africa. So at the time, 2017, I think they went through the processes and the deal was signed.
Yeah.
But this left out Aon Botswana, I think Aon South Africa, I think Mauritius, and I believe another country, Swaziland. So they went through that, but I think the reason why Aon globally wanted to keep Botswana, for them, I believe what we hear is that we're quite a profitable company for them. And they wanted to hold on to us a little longer. And South Africa, because of the area it is in, the economy within South Africa, they felt, let's keep South Africa and I think Mauritius for similar reasons. Yeah. So they held on to us. But these ones then said, okay, we've bought Aon. Now let's find a name that will resonate with insurance within Africa. Like I said earlier, Minet had been around in different countries and in different structures, or in a name somewhere, and they felt, let's call it Minet. People will relate with that, and because we're really basically all in Africa, we brought these the African interests. let's start doing some work and localizing whatever products we have in Africa. However, Aon did not really fully want to move out of Africa.
They didn't want to divest.
So they moved out, but they wanted to have a relationship. They had clients in Africa. And similarly, some of these countries that had changed to these offices that had changed to Minet had clients in other spaces where Aon was, you know, or they did insurance, specialized insurances such as aviation of large fleets and other things, or mining insurances in other spaces. So they agreed to have what they call an Aon Global Network Correspondent Agreement. So all these Minet offices had, and they have, even on the letterhead, they have Aon Global Network Correspondent, meaning that we work together.
Okay. So Aon would be like a parent entity, although it's not owning, but it is part of a loose association. These others are part of a loose association linked to.
It's really loose association around us having the ability to use some of that technology, having access to the employees. And the 50,000 employees in 120 countries, we have access to them. Yeah, we have access to them for specialized risks. The technology, the research, the analytics, we are able to access that. We have obviously an agreement that expires at some time and then has to be renewed.
Oh, I see.
With maybe varied
setting out terms.
Setting out terms and varying them where they need to be varied, but. That's how really Aon moved out. Minet came in, and then because of this correspondent agreement, they more or less waited or knocked on Aon's door to say, how are we far with you guys? How far are we with you guys giving us Botswana or selling Botswana to us? So in 2020,
2 years ago.
Yeah, 2020.
In the height of COVID.
Yeah, in the height of COVID, the negotiations started. And we were going through, like you're saying, COVID, and we were going through quite a number of things. We had actually had the new Retirement Fund Act come through. I think 2017 it became effective, and the requirement was that there's no pension fund administration company or retire fund administration company that can be linked to any other business. But in our cases, Aon, we were composite. We did insurance, pension fund administration, group life. We did everything within the one roof. It was called Aon. So we're at a time where we are, going through the process of separating the two companies, registering, unbundling, registering another one, and separating employees. Well, right at that time, COVID hit, and people started working from home and all that, and things got slow. However, during all that, that was when Minet said we are coming through, and this time they were coming through with a local private equity company called Africa Lighthouse Capital, headed by Mr. Bami Pule. Whereas in the first arrangement with Capital Works, I think there were 8 countries. Kenya, Lesotho, Malawi, Namibia, Uganda, Tanzania, Zambia, I think. Yes. I don't know if I'm leaving one out, but Mozambique.
Yes.
Yeah, that was, and then with this arrangement, they decided, because one of the main complaints we had internally was that when we go and submit our proposals, or if we respond to a tender, amongst the compliance requirements, there's always that local shareholding, citizen shareholding aspect that we are questioned on. And it was embarrassing at that time because the local shareholding that we had was almost 6%. That was it. So when they came through, I think part of what they were very conscious about was having to have a significant shareholding. So they went in with Africa Lighthouse Capital, which is a 100% citizen-owned company, and then they bought Aon at the holding level, and obviously, I think that they 100% owned the other entities, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah. You talk about. I'm going to talk about shareholding in a moment. In fact, maybe this is a good time to touch on shareholding. Currently, what is the setup? Where Botswana? Where are the citizens? Are you also a shareholder?
Yes. I'd said they came in with Africa Lighthouse Capital, and Minet owned 66.67%, and Africa Lighthouse Capital owned the balance 33.33%.
Yes.
Yes. So that made 100%. That was the ownership at Minet Holdings level.
Yes.
But Minet Holdings then owned 3 other companies. But these 3 other companies had other shareholders within them. Because of that separation, we separated into Minet Botswana, which is the insurance side of the business. Insurance, I'm talking assets, short-term and the long-term group life and the life aspect. And then we had the pension fund administration and related services.
Yes.
And we had also had, even as we were Aon, we also had a sister company called Aon Risk Management. So it became risk management and consultancy. We added this consultancy because of the changes we had seen happening within the legislative state area.
Especially with that act.
Yeah, so with the act, and there were other things within the Insurance Act that were now coming to the fore, where they were saying an agent cannot be an agent of a broker. It must be an agent of an insurance company. And this
to avoid conflict of interest.
Yes, but for us, really, we were still a broker to a client, because most of these agents, I don't know if you know, banks have just decided to become insurance brokers now.
Yeah.
So they're registering as agents. They will now be getting into the insurance space, and then they would come through to us as brokers to get them the best underwriter.
So they're getting into your turf.
Yeah, they're in our turf. But then this change in legislation actually pushed them straight into it, because they removed the broker and replaced the broker directly with the bank or whoever, the agent. So they go directly to one underwriter and cutting us out. So on the risk management side, we created this consulting area where we can consult. The risk management company is not regulated by NBFIRA.
No.
So
it's independent.
It's independent, but yes, I'll tell you about the services later. But then we created a consulting area where we can then access all these other things that maybe we cannot under the Act.
Yes.
But that's
okay. So you didn't answer the question of shareholding.
Yes, so shareholding. Yes, it was Africa Lighthouse Capital 33 and Minet Holdings. And then at the lower level, the holdings, Minet Botswana Holdings owns the risk management company 100%. But under Aon, before the split and before the change, the brand change and whatever, we had other minority shareholders who are called Synopsis. Synopsis
of all the names.
Synopsis had come from the acquisition of Glenrand. When we acquired Glenrand in 2013, they were the local shareholders. They owned 25% of Glenrand. However, when Glenrand was acquired by, or merged or acquired by Aon at the time, because of the difference in the values and the size of the company, the 25% was diluted to only 1.72% of
almost nothing.
Almost nothing. But there were still shareholders.
Yes.
Yeah, and we also had a staff share option trust, and a SOP for the staff. So that's where I come in. Was I a shareholder? Yes, I was part of this.
Through the staff.
The staff, which owned 4.72% of Aeon at the time. But
So
then
you
when they split, the split was equal. The shareholding remained equal on both sides.
Okay.
Yes.
That's very interesting. It seems the structure is somewhat complex, eh? Are there individuals that we can point to and say these gentlemen have a substantial interest and they have a holding over this company, shareholding over this company?
Not necessarily. I don't think so, except if you point directly at the Minet people who took over and came through to share with Africa Lighthouse Capital. But let me then go back to that question to say Africa Lighthouse Capital, being a private equity company, invests in local companies, and they were given 500 million by BPOPF, which is
To manage.
to manage, and they're using this money to invest. So they've invested part of this money into Minet, and our argument has always been that the pensioner sitting out there is a shareholder in that
Is an indirect shareholder.
Is an indirect shareholder in that the funds have been used to invest and grow their money. So those are the individuals I can point to, and possibly the staff who are in the ESOP because they get
SOB?
The ESOP,
So
Employee Share Option Trust.
Yes.
Because they get the dividends directly, they're sent directly to them.
Yes.
But they don't. It's not as significant as one would say. But the pensioner sitting at home actually does play a big role. And one thing I always want to point out, because not being 100% citizen-owned sometimes does disadvantage us when we respond to tenders and the like. But I would like maybe to just, for those interested in really understanding this, is that number one, yes, we have Africa Lighthouse Capital, they have the BPOPF money. Pensioners have an interest in the organization. We have ESOP, we have the employees, citizen employees. They have a stake in the organization. And over and above that, we are the largest employer in the industry, and we employ over 120 Botswana in the industry, with only about 4, now they've been reduced to 3 expatriates in the organization. So
but there was a time when you had to let a lot of people go. Am I right? A year or two ago.
No, just earlier this year.
Yes.
Because of, number one, I mentioned the
COVID situation.
COVID, and then the legislative changes. When we were removed from the equation where now banks could go directly to underwriters, it hit hard on our credit life. We had a significant credit life book, which we have since rebuilt ourselves, just for individuals and other organizations that are interested in coming directly to us. So we did have to let some people off. It was a bad time. It was not pleasant to do it, but running an organization, you have to look at the bottom line. If the top line does not come through for you, you have to see how you manage your costs, and the shareholder is always knocking on your door for shareholder value. So
let's talk about the product offering for Minet Botswana. What exactly are the products?
Yes, like I said, we have three entities now. We have the Minet Botswana P2I Ltd, which is the insurance space. And in the insurance space, we insure anything that is insurable, where there's an insurable interest. We insure vehicles, houses. Now, this is where maybe sometimes people don't know. We are in every space. We are with banks, mines,
business
hospitals,
risk as
teachers,
well.
business risk, hospitals, very complicated risks. And we do individuals as well. And those are really the areas we're in, but we also have these add-ons. People, I don't know if they're aware of a product called excess buyback, because sometimes people who will have the insurance, and maybe it's a vehicle, and when they're in an accident, they start struggling with finding the excess. The insurance is there, but it doesn't really help because now they're going to find this excess to pay before.
Because the excess can be up to 20% sometimes.
Yeah, it can be up to 20%. So the product like excess buyback and other add-ons that, if people do come through to ask
How does it work, the buyback?
You buy the insurance and then you pay extra to buy back your excess. If they say your excess is 5% minimum, 10,000, whatever, then you pay another premium to buy that excess portion back.
Yeah.
So when you have an accident, the insurance pays the whole lot.
Okay.
You just put your car in there and take it out clean as it is, and you drive away. Like I said, we insure houses, we insure property within houses. With this, I'm really just talking to the individual, because what we've noticed is that individuals are not really aware of what insurance is. They only know life insurance, because they have agents who walk around and say, I'm selling this product on your life, and then you are covered, and people are happy that when they die, they have something. But there are so many other risks, your expensive watches, because you have all risks where you can cover anything.
Yeah, even
that
key
is
man insurance.
You have key man insurance. We do insurance across all areas. What we really want to know is whether there's an insurable interest, and if there is, we are in the position to go into the insurance space to ask the underwriter if they can make a plan, and we structure a program for you. Because again, without really being
boastful,
disrespectful of our competitors. We've been in the space for a long time. What we have tried to transform this insurance intermediary space from people selling a product off the shelf to one where we give you a product that's relevant to you. Relevant to you, something that you are doing. What do you do every day? What keeps you awake at night? What are the things that you do? And then we go with that information and we go and develop something, and we come back to you and test it with you whether you'll be happy it has closed all the gaps for you. Yeah, we don't say, you own a building, then we come, building combined, this much, you have employees, okay, workers comp, okay, no, we can do that, but we really want to understand.
You want comprehensive solutions.
Yeah, we want comprehensive solutions, and it's about you, not about us. So that's where we think we offer the value, because we want to understand what is it that is worrying you?
Yeah.
Or if at all you are, some people are not even aware they have a problem. So we talk to you, and as we are discussing with you, we actually find out from the conversation that you actually do have problems that you're not aware of. And we point them out to you.
Yes.
That's a very
and offer solutions.
And offer solutions. Go back. I mean, it's not a thing over the table where you say, now we can do this. We want to understand what it is about your business. Are you intending to grow into other areas and the like? So that's the first space. And then we have the pension admin space, where we administrators. People think we hold on to their pension money. We don't.
Where is it kept?
It goes to asset managers who then invest it somewhere. Yes. What we do, we are administrators, and the actual funds that we administrators for have got boards. They've got boards that manage that fund. So really, it's for us to just,
because people think we're sitting on this pile of money.
Yeah, people think we're holding on to that money. And you do get.
I'll tell you, I used to think that you guys make like tons and tons of money. There's a company owned by Warren Buffett. It's represented by Lizard. I'm trying to remember the name of this company. It's a big international insurance company. Okay. It advertises with a small little lizard.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what it is.
I'm trying to think what it is. But I read in a book Warren Buffett saying that he's not really an investor, but he manages cash that accumulates through this insurance. That he's an allocator of capital, and most of this capital comes from because people don't always claim.
Yes.
So the impression that I got was that there's all this pile of money from claims that are not made,
Big,
number one,
collective,
to claims that are blocked by lawyers.
Yeah, or something.
Yeah, something like that. So, so the picture is not quite like that. You can have mine. I haven't had it yet. The picture from what you're telling me is
It's not quite like that. No. Yes, there's you have the pensioners collecting money into a fund from maybe paid through the employer.
Geico. The name is Geico. That I was trying to Geico. Geico.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's advertised through a lizard by a lizard.
Yes. So this money then is there's a board that's appointed, board of trustees that's appointed to look after this money and to make sure that there's good governance there. And we come in, we advise, we say maybe we should get an asset manager, and they say, okay, let's go to tender. We get an asset manager. We go to tender. We say we've identified an asset manager who will take these funds and maybe put them somewhere where they will grow. And then we are responsible for reporting to if it's an employer funded fund, or we'll report back to the employer. We give reports. We give quarterly reports. We do the financials, and we get a fee. We never touch the money. We just get a fee for doing that. So that is the space we're in. And until recently, we were also doing pre-retirement counseling for BPOPF, which has since gone to a competitor through
the tendering system.
Through the tendering system. But we still got those capabilities. Just if people want to maybe engage with us at that level, we still got those capabilities. And then we have a third the subsidiary, which I said is not necessarily regulated by MBFIRA, which is the risk management and consulting company. And under the risk management, this is really where we offer most of the value, because this is a differentiator for us. It sets you apart from. It sets us apart from, because no other intermediary or broker has this thing. This is where we now go. I mean, these are for big risks, but we can do it for even the smaller risks. This is where we now go and do a risk survey on somebody's asset, on somebody. It's just the general risk of a potential client. We do the risks, and this is really, again, the very, very first stage for anyone to do before they insure. Identify your risks, see how you can mitigate them, see how you address them, and if you can't, then insure. You see? So we have this area where we do risk audits, risk surveys, and we also do where I believe probably the only ones we do plant and machinery. Plant and machinery evaluations, and then we also do enterprise risk management programs, and then we have this consulting space that I said we've put for. If maybe there's a large claim at mines or Botswana Power Corporation or telecoms, then we do the claim advocacy. They can hire us to, because, like I said, without being disrespectful to some of these brokers, they're not at that level. They don't have some of the expertise. They don't have the sophistication. Because we also, remember I said we are still part of the global Aeon network. Yes. So we can still access expertise from anywhere. And you are bound by some of the ethical rules. We But let me ask you this, Mavuma. From the point of view of a startup or an entrepreneur, which is the majority of people who watch this show, what would you say from an insurance perspective when they start up a business? What are the sort of things they should look out for? In the insurance space. Yes. I think when you start up a business, I think you need to be concerned about protecting the business itself. You'll have employees. Try and make sure that you protect the employees, because it's a legislative requirement. You have to have workers' compensation for workers, but then you have to make sure that you on the governance side, to protect yourself, get insurances such as professional indemnity insurances, and then you can then insure everything in the business. But another important aspect of a business is that you must have a business interruption cover, because
Is that the key man thing?
no. Business interruption is if something happens and your business is interrupted and you can't make money anymore. If there's a fire, for example, and
there's COVID, for example.
If there's COVID, for example, but that is a very contentious area. It's still fluid, and I can't commit to anything in that space. Because they've had cases.
Because they call them acts of God.
Yes, we've had cases in South Africa, where some underwriters didn't want to pay, and
some had to pay through the courts.
Yes, through the courts. But those are, look after number one, the people. Make sure the assets are covered, and then make sure you protect the business. This is if it's interrupted. If anything happens, then after that, because you can't say there's any useless type of insurance unless you.
So explain to them then the key man insurance, how it comes in, especially for startups or for entrepreneurs.
Oh, okay, yes, it's okay, because especially the other ones that are coming with the idea.
Yes,
a key man is as it says, key person. It's a key person insurance. You might have, for example, a chemist who comes and opens up a brewery, let's say a pharmacy. I was trying to find something that he only would have the expertise. So he says, okay, I've studied chemistry and I can mix these things. I'm starting this
maybe brewery.
I'm starting this brewery, and I have the information. It's with me, and I'm going to hire an accountant and other people around me.
But the expertise is within me.
The expertise is within me, or maybe it's in a book or something, but I'm the one who studied this in the space, and I can do. So that's the key man. So you are really getting insurance to buy this key man, the business protecting that if this key person then dies, then that expertise has gone. Then you might need to come and replace an individual with another individual or a set of individuals to keep the business going. Or to pay it off and pay everyone off to to go wherever.
And tell us a bit more about your consultancy, the consultancy business.
Yes, I'm just saying this consultancy is the area where we would want to bring in added.
It's one of the three companies, right?
The three companies. The one that has the additional consultancy space is really linked to the risk management. I said the risk management, they do risk surveys and all that. But the consultancy is an area where we'd like to start playing in.
So it's part of risk management.
It's part of risk management, but the companies that want us to possibly help them with. Because they can now go direct, a bank can now go direct to an insurance company. They might not have the expertise to handle certain things, and then they can come to us to ask for any help in our space outside of the regulators'
I get the sense that you are a bit aggrieved about this change that has taken place because of this legislation, where they've actually cut you out. And and just reading between the lines, do you think something can be done about it? Is there any kind of lobbying you can do to have this law changed?
I believe so. I don't know whether it's correct to say it here or not, but I'll be excused if not. But we have approached the regulator and have discussed with them, because the actual clause within the act that caused this has actually got an additional line. It will say no sub-agent can be an agent of an insurance broker unless given the permission by the regulator. So they are ignoring this aspect, this very last... they are ignoring this aspect and only dealing with this one. So we've had several engagements. When it's that we're putting it in place, which is about 2-3 years ago, we had several engagements with them, and that we asked them to unpack this last part. What do they mean? If they are going to ignore it, why is it there? That's what I'm saying. I don't know whether we can tell, but they
never gave a satisfactory answer.
They never gave a satisfactory answer. In fact, then they said to us to really push it out of the door. They said, "This is talking to an agent. It's got nothing to do with you. So we can't engage with you. We will engage with the agent." So we
had
spoke to our clients at the time to say, this is what you should advance as your argument. But they were never given a satisfactory answer as well.
Yeah.
So we're quite bitter around the space because it was quite a very very strong for us in terms of revenue and because it was high.
So almost like revenue. They pulled the carpet from under your feet.
Yes,
somewhat.
They did. They did. And then the other thing that we are currently seeing as a challenge, which I mentioned I think earlier, is the Citizen Empowerment Act.
Yeah.
Where tenders are now say 100% citizen owned, and that completely closes us out because we will never be 100% citizen owned.
Well, it depends.
Possibly after some years, but for as long as I think I'm at the helm, it won't happen in my lifetime.
Yeah.
You see?
Maybe you should think of getting together as employees, especially senior managers, to start buying shares incrementally.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But then another argument could be that this thing is being applied to the wrong sector in the industry or the wrong line in the industry. We are intermediaries. When the procuring entity puts out a tender, they say 100% citizen owned, but we don't carry any risk. So our argument has always been, and that's the narrative we're really pushing to say, we are the intermediaries, we are brokers. Claims are paid, premium goes to an underwriter, and a claim is paid by an underwriter. And none of these underwriters will ever be 100%. They're not now, and they'll never be, except maybe for Western, who I think I heard the other time were 100% owned by Botswana. So
it will in future. Let's be positive. It will change, but it will take years.
But yes, I think if they can only direct it to the appropriate line in the chain, in the value chain, which is the underwriter, to say you be carrying the risk. You should be 100% citizen. But then they can never be because these risks, some of these risks are so large, they need to be reinsured. They need to be reinsured, and sometimes they keep nothing to their net and then reinsure into other countries.
Let's talk about the vision and mission. Under you, Mavuma, what is the vision for Minet Botswana? And what is the mission?
Or maybe to start with the mission, really because when we were acquired by Minet, we went off to have a strategy session to look at our challenges and really how our future looks like in the next 3 to 5 years. And
so you went on a strategic workshop, strategic planning workshop.
Strategic workshop, look at what we were as Aeon, what we are now as Minet, what we want to do now given the current legislative changes, the new CE laws, and then we felt, okay, yes, this is now where we're looking. But then our mission really is to just become, we were trusted as Aeon. People knew because of the brand, the global brand.
It's a strong brand. Yeah.
So we really just want to be the trusted risk, because that's the reinsurance area, employee benefits, and reinsurance providers or advisors.
Trusted risk and reinsurance advisors.
Risk employee benefits.
Yes.
Reinsurance advisors. Through a partnership, we like I was saying earlier on, we don't come to you and give you a already packaged thing. We engage you through partnership with our stakeholders, and then we want to be able to give you a relevant solution to your. So the line really just is to be the trusted risk, employee benefits, and reinsurance, and provider and relevant solution provider to our stakeholders.
So, at what point will you say mission accomplished?
We are quite some distance away. I believe. I believe with us having just transitioned from Aeon last year to now, we only hit a year in June last year, because that's when in June this year, that's when we rebranded.
Yes.
So having gone a year and having had these challenges and the retrenchment, I think we are some distance away. But I believe now we are at the crossroads. We are past all the challenges now. I believe we can now start a new journey.
Yeah.
Because now in the vision,
I was going to ask you about
now in the vision, it's really got it's a long vision. Even our directors say that's too long.
Yeah.
So I'll really just summarize. We believe, because having joined Minet, we realized that Minet had pillars as that vision. So we said, no, we'll have a pillar that talks to our employees. We want our employees to be the best. They must be paid well. They must have the talent. They must be empowered to do whatever they want to do within a work environment that's really comfortable. Then we went to technology and said, we see, even before COVID, we actually seeing changes in banks that people want to work online. Nobody really wants to be doing the visits to any office. So we talk about our technology to be relevant. We wanted to...
so it's really long.
So we talked about technology, and obviously we wanted the technology to be relevant. We wanted it to be current, digital, and the like. And then we went to risk and compliance, because that's another area where it's very important. Nowadays, the regulatory space is quite strong on compliance, corporate governance, and the like. So we talk to that, and we want to be the ones that lead.
So you want to be number one?
Yeah, we want to be in all areas of our business. Yeah, compliance, and then the main one is really to diversify our income streams. We want to diversify income streams by having relationships, through distribution channels, through just doing new products, because we've seen that the traditional way of doing insurance is being challenged. We are being hit, number one, by the CE. If you are not a citizen, then don't participate. So let's find other things that will bring income. Yeah, even if you don't. There are still corporate clients like Mogobe and other things that people can. But we really just want to diversify that.
Yeah.
We want to have a reputation remain intact. Yeah. We want to provide value for our clients, and we want to have a sustainable impact in the ecosystem. In the ecosystem as we operate in. And finally, obviously, we want to give shareholder value.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
We made it that long because we really just taking off
you had to
the back
take a lot of things and then compress them.
Some
will argue that you still need to break it down and simplify it.
But then
because you want the cleaner and the receptionist to be able to articulate it.
Yeah. But we really now the 4 basic focus areas.
Yes.
But my lady over there is working we're working on what we call a world cafe, where we'll really be cascading everything down to the rest of the stuff on the 5th of August, just to break it down now to small nuggets.
Yes.
To small nuggets that people...
It's a very good choice of words.
That people will appreciate. Now everyone within the organization will know where exactly we are going. That's...
Okay. Now, Botswana are embracing insurance in general, but there's still hopefully a minority that thinks insurance is a bit of a rip-off. They think that insurance, 99% of the things really never come to pass. What would you say as overall advice in response to that?
Yeah, I think my advice would be really that's a very dangerous approach to have, because insurance basically secures, that's our tagline, secure tomorrow. It secures what you don't know is going to happen tomorrow. So you are really paying something definite now in insurance for something that you don't know the magnitude of if it ever occurs. So insurance, whether life or anything that you find valuable to you, is a very, very important. I don't know what to say. It should be an important aspect of your life.
Are you able to
if you can afford it?
Are you able to give examples from your very extensive career as to how the failure to insure can have unfortunate consequences?
Yes, I mean, very easy, simple examples are vehicle insurance. You buy a very expensive vehicle because you really like it and you want to be seen in it, and the insurer, or somebody says insure it, then you go and you are told the premium, and you You think, no, this is a bit too much. This is a bit too much. And then you go off and unfortunately something happens. Not even because of you, maybe a cow comes through and you hit it. That's a very basic example of what insurance does. You would have paid a definite amount, struggle how you get it, but pay it, and you'll be
Because
then
there
be
have been
protected.
people who've been seen walking. At the same time, the installments are coming out. The car is gone.
The car is gone.
But you're still paying every month.
Now, to take a bigger asset, the house. Yeah. And one thing I've told people and I'm surprised is that house insurance is the cheapest insurance you can get. House insurance, I mean, if I give an example, if a house maybe costs, simple example again, if a house costs 100,000, you probably pay 125 pula a year, not a month. If it costs 100,000, and in a year,
so if it's a million,
it's a million, it's 1.2 in a year. You know, some of these things, these are decisions that you should take. Maybe just having checked all sides. So really, I mean, if an asset like that goes again, you are finished. So those are the examples, and you have bigger examples of mines going in and insurances were not structured properly.
Yeah, I think part of this wrong perception, I think, it comes from sometimes when you make a claim, you have been made to jump a lot of hoops sometimes, and sometimes lawyers get involved to deny you your claim, and the public might think, why should I put myself through that?
Yeah, that has been a problem that a lot of people have experienced. That is why sometimes we as brokers, when we sell our value, is that you really need somebody to speak on your behalf. Somebody with
an intermediary.
An intermediary with expertise. Not just an intermediary. You don't go and get your uncle and say, no, come, I have a problem. You have to have somebody on your side who will speak on your behalf and speak intelligently and understand and break down. You don't need to go to a lawyer if you have a broker. I mean, a broker will go to a lawyer for you and pay the lawyer themselves if you have a broker. And one thing people again misunderstand about an intermediary is they think that you pay extra to have an intermediary. If you go to an underwriter and he says your premium will be 1,000, and you go to a broker, your broker will say your premium will be 1,000. You don't pay extra, but you get that additional value within the value chain where you are now under the arms of somebody who is an expert in the space, in the field or in the industry.
No, you've answered that concern. How is insurance redeveloping in this in the context of 4IR in terms of digitization to accommodate even the new normal under COVID-19?
Yes, I think COVID-19 really sped things up. I know that after the banks, started having their online transactions and the like, even we at Aon at the time had worked on a 5-year IT strategy to digitize, and with the advent of COVID, everything was sped up somewhat because it meant now you couldn't have direct contact. Mr. Mogobe could not come into my office.
Everything was on Zoom.
Yes, everything was on Zoom. So yes, with that, it has sped things up, and I think it is a positive development, and I think it's a development that's going to stay. And I think what it has helped us do is, it has obviously has a disadvantage, but what it has helped us do is we're able to talk to a lot of people at any one time. You can have a webinar and have everybody log in from anywhere. That really gives you access to
even in their pajamas.
Even in their pajamas, that gives you access to quite a lot of people. And the developments now is that people can now submit claims. There are shorter claims. Information is at the touch of your button. You don't necessarily need to sit there, look for files and the like.
So have you put systems in place to enable your employees to do that from their homes?
Yes. When COVID hit us, we immediately, we did realize the risks before. We are in the risk space. We realized the risks before for our clients. With the lockdowns, some might not be able to do proper renewals at the time. There'll be risks, and we handle that to be able to do online. And then we sent our employees home We first started, working on a 25% office attendance, but then we bought Wi-Fi units for everyone, so that they could work from home. And for those that needed special desk, and we made sure that we supply that. Yeah, so everybody got home and everybody was on a phone or a smartphone in the event that people really needed to talk to them. And those are things that are there to stay. We considered calling back people into the office, but then there was a DICO event. I'm not blaming it. There was a DICO event that happened, and then Monday, Tuesday after that, we had 6 to 10 cases within the office. So people got back home. But because we had already put these infrastructures in place at the homes, it did not disturb the business at all. So, for example, I and my executive team and the subsidiaries, we do most of the work from home, and we have meetings all over the place. Right. And maybe before we go, maybe I need to mention that these 3 subsidiaries have got their managing directors. So that I don't want us to miss this aspect.
So are you not managing all 3?
No, I'm the group managing director sitting at the holdings. Remember I said there's a holdings.
Oh, so they're under you, these 3 directors?
Yes, I'm a group managing director, and the managing director for Minet, Botswana, is Mr. Michael Sinchonyera. The managing director for the retirement company is Mr. Lemogelang Ibideng. And then the managing director for the risk management business is Mr. Gabriel Karidza.
Okay.
And I mean, if anybody wants further information around products and
they need to go to those,
they can talk directly to these gentlemen and their teams, and then I think that's where they'll get there.
Thanks for clarifying that. As we come to the end, I want you to grab your crystal ball, sir, as we come to the end of our conversation, and tell us what you see from the point of view of brand Barnabas Mavuma and the company 10 years, 15 years down the line. What do you see unfolding?
One has always got to be positive.
Yes.
Yes. Because this company is a group, an Pan-African group. It's got structures within that. Firstly, I see us getting out of this rut that we are in now in terms of the legislative changes and the business that we've lost, like I told you. And because of the things we are doing now, I see us in the next 3 to 4 years really back at the top and doing the revenues that we had thought we'd do by now, were it not of the change. That we are accustomed to. I mean, we've already started. You've got the likes of Ma Kumabari Sangez, our marketing executive, who recently hired her, and with what she has planned, I think we're going to do wonders. And for brand Barnabas, I've been mentored and I've been taught that you get to position to grow others into your position. You really work these people and mentor them so hard that they push you out of your job. So
you have to make yourself irrelevant.
I'm making myself irrelevant. And the fact that I have 3 MDs that report to me has started showing me that you're really out of a job now. You can only just provide leadership and wisdom. But I think I'd like to see myself obviously get into the group at a position where I can influence the entire
You're
group.
not aspiring to be a major shareholder.
No, I'm coming to that. I think as I get into the group, they do now give you access to the other companies in terms of maybe shareholding, because I've seen it happen with the current group leaders that they have a stake in all the companies. So I mean, even if it's a 5% stake in each, I mean, if you're putting them together, depending on that
performance, such a huge thing is a lot.
This is the performance, of course. I've got a farm near Kumakwani here, 30 kilometers out. got a borehole and other things. I'm putting solar and other things, and obviously, if that does not work, I'm putting in the infrastructure for farming now.
Yeah.
So that maybe if that doesn't work, I can go and retire there. But
you are ensuring your future.
Yeah. But for as long as my insurance skills are required within the organization, not even insurance, leadership skills, and you know, I'm still willing to remain in there. And of course. With shareholding.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you know.
Time to ask me a question, say, if you have one for me. Just one.
I'm quite aware that you've like I said, I know you've actually done quite well in the business space, and I've heard a few of your nuggets. I'll just keep using it. If it's relevant,
it is relevant.
If it's not, it's not. But
keep mentioning that word. I'm happy.
Yes, it's relevant. But yes, maybe just for my benefit and others, just what is it that drives you, and what is it that actually makes you wake up and find these opportunities? Because you don't do this without finding an opportunity. It's
a two-way. It's a two-way answer that I can give. One is selfish considerations, that I want to keep my mind active, keep my mind alive, and in terms of being in a position to be alert and aware of these opportunities. That's a selfish consideration. But the more general one is that we want to mentor, we want to influence others, to empower others. We say in our tagline that we enthuse, we energize, we inspire, and we empower. So I wake up, with a spring in my step every morning, knowing that there are people who are benefiting as a result of our efforts, as a result of the business that we bring in. So I'm inspired by the desire to serve and empower others. As long as I'm able to do that, and in the process be able to feed my family, in the process be able to grow as a business. So and there has been a huge deficit in terms of our ecosystem, in terms of entrepreneurial development. I also feel that I can have a role to play through entities such as Angel Network Botswana, through my direct efforts at mentorship, and develop others so that we do develop second, third, fourth, and multiple generation entrepreneurs. So that's part of the motivation to try and do that. With Angel Network Botswana, for instance, there are about 50 of us. I formed this organization 2 years ago, and there are 50 other entrepreneurs who are, investing into startups with the aim of improving the ecosystem. So these are the things that excite me. I hope I've answered your question.
I think you have, and of course, this is an example of what we're having now is an example of what you're doing in terms of just trying to help others grow.
Yeah.
With this being broadcast, then I think we will see the change.
Yes.
Yes.
That camera
is
for you to speak to the viewers and leave them with something, one or two inspirational, motivational messages as we wrap up.
Wow, I did not expect that.
Yeah.
Hey, Motswana wetsu ko gae ke nna re Mavuma, moeteledipele wa Minet Holdings. Ke sa re gore ke le rotloetsa gore gongwe le ka dira insurance le rona ko Minet, mme hela mo botsholong ga o tsoga o akanya gore bokamoso ya gago, your future ntse jang, have you secured it? O ipakanyeditse se se ka sa tsoga se iragala ka moso. We've recently been hit by the COVID pandemic, and we have seen a lot of people lose lives, and some of them were fortunate that their employers had arranged insurances for them and their families, but some had not. We've seen it affect many lives, livelihoods about to change because of the changes in matsholo a mo breadwinner abatogetse, or just the companies suffering di sa kgone go ba afforda botle ka the level of business that they're making and having to retrench them. These are very unfortunate things, but insurance, make sure that you look at your life and see whether in terms of insurance to protect your assets and your life. Thank you so much.
Okay. Can you please give them your contact details, where they can access you, even on social media, or access your company rather?
You can find us at Minet House. It's at the Gaborone Showgrounds office area, plot 50368. You will see our brand name on the front, Minet. We also have an office in Francistown. And the number you can get us on is 3617300. And the lady at reception will take you through to each or either of the areas, subsidiary areas that you want to talk to. And I'm also a phone call away. I believe that if somebody has not received sufficient assistance by anyone within the organization, they may contact me to ask me to see how I can solve that problem. My contact number is 7210-1741. It is a number that I use, and I'll never ignore a call unless, of course, I'm in a meeting. But please do contact us.
All right. Thank you very much. You've been a great guest, and you've shared so generously. We'd want to say here at Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom, we appreciate you, sir, and we thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.